We are live. Double or Nothing is tonight. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. Joining me is Ralph Valenti for news, reviews, conversations, and all things pro wrestling. Subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. This is it, Ralph. The big night. Year one is in the books for All Elite Wrestling. And it's a very big show that it seems like we're going to have. What do we have? 9 matches on this card?
Probably something about that, but I'm just looking forward to actually being able to watch a wrestling pay-per-view that I'm excited for. There's a lot of good matches on the card, and definitely some interesting matchups that are going to dictate really kind of what's going to happen in the future for AEW. So definitely going to find out the direction the company plans to go, especially assuming the title match is the main event, and we'll kind of get into that. But definitely excited to see some of these matches and see what direction the company's going to go in from here.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly think that one of 3 matches can main event tonight. Obviously, Moxley versus Brody is what they promoted as the main event on the countdown to Double or Nothing. However, you also have the TNT Championship between Cody and Archer that could be a main event, and the Stadium Stampede match that could also be the main event. So, I honestly, if it were me, I probably would go Archer versus Cody as the main event, if you think about it, because they want to make sure that that title, especially when Cody's saying that they're not calling it a mid-card or a workers title yet, if you want to have that in the same level as the World Championship, have it main event the first night that championship is crowned, if you ask me. But what do you think? Yeah. Which one do you think main events, or goes on last, I should say?
If it were up to me, I would have Mox and Brody Lee close the night out. I'm more of a traditionalist in the sense that I think that the heavyweight championship match should always go on last. That's your main event. That's your most prestigious title. That's the thing that people are, unfortunately, there's not going to be people there in the stands, but assuming there was people there that were paying to see it, you always have that be your main event. The only time that I ever felt like anything should have main evented a major pay-per-view or event was when the Undertaker's streak was still intact. I felt like that was, should have been considered at the level or above the level of the heavyweight championship or the main title. I definitely understand where you're coming from. If there was a second choice, I would say that the TNT title should be the main event other than the championship, the heavyweight championship.
Right.
Because it is supposed to be at just as prestigious as the heavyweight championship. So, the Stampede match, yes, that's going to be cool. I'm excited for that, but I don't feel like that should be the one to close out the show. So I'm going to say Brody Lee and Moxley should close the night out.
Right. No, I agree to an extent. Like, if it were me, I would say the TNT Championship, but probably Moxley and Brody goes on last. But then again, the Stadium Stampede match was already pre-recorded. So I wonder if they do everything that's live first and then play the Stadium Stampede like we saw in night 1 of the WrestleMania, where the Boneyard match finished the show, even though they had all the live matches in the Performance Center. So those that are just joining us, welcome. Don't forget to share us all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, SCPB Podcast. And if you want to support the channel, join the Super Chat party. If you have a question, we will answer it. Just any donation you can will work, and we will answer your question. So, and let's get down to it. Ralph, we'll start with the buy-in match, which is the Best Friends versus Private Party. The winner becomes the #1 contender for the AEW Tag Team Championship. So, Ralph, I think this one might be the easiest to predict in the entire night, and I'm going with the Best Friends.
I'm going with the Best Friends as well, but I wouldn't write off Private Party. I think Best Friends, they've been on TV a little bit more. People are still, when you're not on TV, it's hard to build the team up. Private Party's kind of been a team that people were excited about. I think they got exposed a little bit just because, they had some missteps in some of the matches, and it seemed like they were just kind of a step behind in some of their matches. They're definitely talented, and I definitely think that they're going to be an intricate part to the tag team division. But I just don't think they're at that level yet where they're ready to be the tag team champions. Best Friends, obviously both of them. And then obviously you put in Orange Cassidy, people are into them. So I think that Best Friends are definitely going to take this here.
Yeah, totally agree. And the way the best friends were just pushed during the entire like quarantine and those pre-tape shows at Nightmare Family Training or whatever they call that place, Nightmare Factory. So I definitely see that. And I mean, Private Party, they got a long way to go, in my opinion. So I don't really see them. If you guys heard that, that's the super chat party tone that you get when you donate to the channel. Thank you, Heel Swerve 90 for the $1 donation there. But back to what I was saying. Yes, that is where I go. Best friends over Private Party. Private Party has a long way to go before they get put into a tag team title position. So I think it's still going to be a good match. But then again, I say best friends win. So let's move on to the actual show itself. Got some big news early this morning, late last night, that some of the matches are actually changing. Card subject to change because of some big injuries that happened during Dynamite. One of those, I think everybody has suspected that Dr. Britt Baker has torn her ACL. It's not confirmed what the injury is, but she is not in the match tonight with Kris Statlander. Instead, stepping in is Penelope Ford. Ralph, do you think Penelope Ford jumps in and beats Statlander?
No, definitely not. No, I don't think so. I think that, it's good that she's going to be put in a position like this because Penelope Ford's been on TV. And it kind of seems like they were trying to give her a little bit of a push, or she's been consistently on TV. And I just don't see them going anywhere with her right now. If it was Britt Baker, you could have argued it could have gone either way. But Statlander, I don't think she can afford to somebody like a loss to somebody like Penelope Ford right now.
Well, I mean, they've been pushing Penelope Ford for a while now. And in fact, like it seemed like when they were talking about all the women in the division in that video package a while back, Penelope Ford was in that video package, and it was like, why is she in this when she hasn't really done much in the women's division just yet? So maybe this, she takes advantage of this, gets the win over Statlander, and puts herself maybe in the rankings. I think she was at one point number 5, maybe not, but if she wins tonight, she definitely gets put into the top 5, beating someone that has been weekly in the top 5 basically since she signed with AEW, and Kris Statlander. Obviously, Britt Baker getting hurt, and if she's out for a long time, her spot in the top 5 that gets taken from somebody else too. We haven't seen Riho. We haven't seen Yuka Sakazaki. So
where the hell's Anna Jay? She couldn't step in? She's not available? She's not working dates for AEW right now?
I guess not.
How about the guy that jobbed out to Kenny Omega? He doesn't want to step in?
Alan Angels, I'm pretty sure he had a match on Dark with somebody. No, I can't remember who.
I'm kidding.
Maybe it was Darby. I don't know. I don't watch Dark.
I would have, honestly, Penelope Ford, like you talked about, yes, they're trying to give her some sort of push. They're trying to certainly establish her on TV, which is fine. That's fine. I have no problem with them creating depth in the women's division or any of the divisions for that matter. I think it would have been pretty cool to see a lesser known individual like maybe an Anna Jay, or I don't know where Sadie Gibbs is. I mean, it seems like
she is quarantined right now. She's stuck in the UK.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's probably where Pac is. And I know the Dark Order, at least Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, they're, these guys are international talent. So they're stuck in whatever country they live in. And that's part of the reason why certain matches are booked the way they are, because they're, somewhat limited in who they have right now. But despite that, the card is actually pretty good. So who do you actually take in this match? You said Statlander?
Statlander, yes.
I agree. I'm going with Kris Statlander here. Although Penelope Ford could take an upset here. Wouldn't be surprised if they go that route. I just think because she's a replacement, they're not going to, change the finish to have Statlander lose regardless in this situation. I thought Britt Baker would have won had she still been in the match. But now that Ford is in, I think Statlander takes the win. But let's move on to another match that was announced this week on Dynamite, and that is Shawn Spears versus Dustin Rhodes. It seems like this match could have been thrown last minute, but there's actually a story behind this, as Shawn Spears keeps egging on Cody Rhodes for being a little selfish and not throwing in the towel for Dustin and stuff like that. So Apparently we got another super chat party invitation. Christian Bullard, thank you very much for the $2 donation. Who should be the second TNT champion? That's a good question. We got to get to the first one first. So we'll get back to the second after we answer the first one. But let's go to Shawn Spears versus Dustin Rhodes. This match actually has some build to it as Shawn Spears is trying to dig into Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. I think Shawn Spears is starting to get a big push for the summer, and maybe we see Cody versus Shawn Spears at All Out again later on this year. So I'm going with Shawn Spears with the win here.
Yeah, me too. I'm going with Shawn Spears. I was hopeful that he wasn't getting TV time just because of the whole, depleted roster situation because of the pandemic, and that they were actually going to utilize him and use him going forward. It seems like they're going to do that. I think he's going to win, especially given the fact that if you go and look at Dynamite from this past week, it seems like they're trying to do more with his character or give him a character, give him something to sink into. Obviously, the chairman gimmick, he can't really do that. He doesn't have Blanchard with him right now, at least.
Right.
So I don't know. I am interested to see where they go with this. I actually think further down the line, we're going to see Dustin turning on Cody and maybe even joining.
Not the other way? You don't see Cody turning?
I see a heel turn. I mean, I could see a heel turn for both of them, but it just seems like for the storyline to be linear, it almost seems like maybe Shawn Spears is going to say these things and then Dustin's going to contemplate it and say, oh yeah, you know what? You were right. And then turn on Cody. Because if you think back to their original feud, the thing that Dustin said about Cody was he's kind of like a selfish guy.
Right.
And maybe he'll look back on that and say, he was right. I was right about you, something like that. But I think we could probably both agree that at some point, Cody and Dustin will have maybe one more match, especially considering how good their first match was.
Yeah. I mean, some people would say that Cody versus Dustin could be the best match AEW has had in their 1 year. And that happened the first night at Double or Nothing. So I wouldn't mind a second match there. So, but let's move on to another person that has had a story behind Cody Rhodes since AEW started. And that's MJF. He goes up against Jungle Boy here. This match, I don't know exactly the reason behind this match. They didn't really tell a story. It's just kind of like MJF and Jungle Boy, two rising stars, showcase match for Double or Nothing. I could see Jungle Boy pulling an upset here. However, I believe that MJF does get the victory here. They got to push him, especially if he either becomes the next number one contender for the AEW World Championship or gets the first shot at the TNT Championship. So, Joseph Perry, thank you for joining the Super Chat party. $1.99 saying, Penelope Ford wins, you fools. Well, that's your prediction. We have our prediction, Statlander. So, one of us is going to be fools. One of us is going to be not. So, I mean, they're just predictions. So, it is what it is. But thank you for the $1.99 donation and joining the Super Chat party. MJF, if he wins here, Ralph, do you see him going for the world title or the TNT title?
I definitely think that he should be challenging for the world title. I think that they're trying to get away from the Cody MJF feud, at least for right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you're going to do something with a heel that is a true heel in every sense of the word, and who better than MJF right now?
Yeah, I totally agree. But I mean, you could have it where MJF takes the title off of Moxley or Brody, whoever wins the title tonight. And then the only way, Cody gets a title shot back is if MJF allows him, because don't forget, it was MJF that threw in the towel where Cody lost for a shot at a world title ever again. So definitely see a path going that way. I think Jungle Boy does look good in a losing effort in this match. This one, from the Dynamite match that they had a while back, that was a very good match. They didn't get a lot of time, but I think this match could get 15 minutes and it'd be a solid 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this match.
Do you think Luchasaurus doesn't look like an idiot tonight like he's had the last 2 weeks if Wardlow gets involved?
God, I certainly freaking hope so, because you can't have it. You can't have it where you're one of your biggest guys on your roster just comes face to face with a guy that's beating the crap out of a guy like Marco Stunt 2 weeks in a row and not do anything. If Wardlow's gonna get involved, and Luchasaurus is at ringside, which again, I hope that they actually think that went through this time and they have him at ringside.
Mhm.
There has to be some type of altercation, especially if they're going to build towards Wardlow and Luchasaurus in the future.
Right. Well, before we could get to MJF or Jungle Boy getting a title shot, we need to figure out who the number one contender is going to be for the World Championship, and that's going to be decided through the Casino Ladder match. Another change in this card was this match is Rey Fenix took a nasty spill on Dynamite. He tried doing a flip off the top rope. No one caught him. He landed on his ass, landed on his back. He's out. I don't think as long as Britt Baker is going to be, but he is replaced by Joey Janela. Also joining in this ladder match is Darby Allen, Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian, Colt Cabana, Luchasaurus, the ratings draw, Orange Cassidy, and the mystery opponent. You have Brian Cage as the mystery opponent. I said Wardlow was a mystery opponent on a previous episode of the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Who do you have winning this?
Initially I said that I thought that whoever the mystery guy, whoever that ends up being, is going to end up winning.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that doesn't happen and assuming it's not really a big name guy, I think that Scorpio Sky is probably my favorite. I think Darby Allen is going to look awesome in this match. It's going to be pretty much a highlight match for him. I think he will come very close to winning, but much like his career has pretty much told us, at least in AEW, he comes very close to winning and just doesn't get there. And I think that's going to be important because I think they're trying to do something with him and have this really long storyline. And where I'd like to see that lead is he gets really close to winning, doesn't win, gets really close to beating guys like Cody, guys like Moxley, Jericho, whoever it is, the top tier guys in AEW, and he just can't get that big win. Eventually he'll get to that point where he ends up earning a title opportunity. And whether that's a big name guy like Cody, which I hope it's against a heel Cody, and he wins at a big event with a bunch of people in the stands, then
right.
that will be huge for him. That will be huge for his career, a star-making moment. That could all happen tonight. He could be the guy that wins. I could very much see that, but I think that they're going to try to stretch the storyline out. I can tell you who's not going to win.
Who's that? Orange Cassidy?
Yes. Not winning.
Oh, come on. You stole my thunder. You stole my thunder because I was going to paint the picture for you on why he was going to win. Picture this.
I'll let you paint the picture.
All right. Remember Homecoming, the Homecoming episode of Dynamite.
I thought you were talking about Homecoming in high school.
No. I hated Homecoming in high school, but Homecoming, the episode of Dynamite on January 1st, New Year's Day. Daly's Place, Trent versus Jon Moxley. There was a moment in that match where Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley had a standoff. We did a review the next night where I said, I actually want to see Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. I said that in the review. And I didn't remember that until this morning when I was, thinking about who I was picking for the ladder match. And I remembered this. For some weird reason, I remember me saying this in January. And I was like, yes, that's what's going to happen. We're going to get Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship at some point in 2020. Orange Cassidy is winning the ladder match.
You can come over and watch me heave shit off the top of my roof if you want. It's pretty much the equivalent.
No, no. I'm only kidding. I actually think Scorpio Sky is going to win this. The way they've been pushing Scorpio Sky in these video packages, the tie-ins with SCU and the Dark Order, even a little bit with Moxley having his matches with guys in SCU, I could totally see Scorpio Sky winning this match, especially when he's already had a title match against Jericho. That was like his crowning moment. Or his, people started to notice Scorpio Sky on a mainstream level. He's a great talker. He's a great athlete. He's a great wrestler. And I think they know that there's a star there. Tonight is the night where we make Scorpio Sky the star, break him out of SCU, and he becomes a future AEW champion. That's where I'm going with. I'm going with Scorpio Sky winning the ladder match.
I agree.
Yeah.
I could very much see that happening.
All right. All right, guys, just take a quick break here. Thank you all for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble's live predictions of AEW Double or Nothing. My name is Michael Valenti. Joining me is Ralph Valenti for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And if you want to support the channel, join the Super Chat Party. If you have a question, give us whatever donation you can. I know times are tough right now. And we'll answer your question. And we're going to do some Q&A after our predictions are done. So let's move on to, let's keep it how we had it planned. So we're going to go to the Stadium Stampede match. The Inner Circle versus the Elite. Now, Cody's obviously in the TNT Championship match, so we actually are going to get Matt Hardy filling his spot, but we got the Young Bucks returning. We got Hangman Page returning on this past episode of Dynamite. I heard this was already pre-taped, and from those that are already talking about the pre-taped match, they said it was good. They said there was a lot of surprises, a lot of cameos. So, Ralph, what do you expect out of this Stadium Stampede match? Do you think we're going to get something like the Boneyard match where it's very cinematic, or is it just going to be like a wrestling match that they just edited together inside a stadium?
I don't think it's going to really be cinematic. I think we're going to get a pretty much a straightforward wrestling match. What is somebody hating on the Orange Cassidy stuff?
No. My wife just chimed into the live chat saying that I didn't like Homecoming because I didn't have a date. That's not true. I had dates once. Anyway, continue.
Homecoming was fun for me.
Weren't you Homecoming Prince or something one of the years?
I think like 2 years.
Yeah. I never.
Anyway, back to professional wrestling and not reminiscing.
Right.
So I think this match is not going to be cinematic. I think that there is going to be. I'm hoping that this is not too chaotic, like to the point where you can't keep track of what the hell is going on. This is going to be good. Look, there's too many good professional wrestlers involved in this match for it not to be good. Sammy Guevara's in it. I'm sold on it just because of that. I whatever is going to happen, I know that he'll take some type of cool, crazy bump. He'll do something that's funny that, I'm sure people are going to be talking about afterwards, because it seems like he's been able to do that throughout the entirety of his career in AEW to this point.
What does he get run over by tonight? Because he already got run over by a golf cart. I don't know what else they have at Daly's Place or TIAA Bank Field, but there's got to be something else he could get run over by.
I don't know. Maybe a snowplow.
Maybe, or do they have one of those things that flatten the grass so that it's even for the football?
Like in Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Like police officer?
Yeah. Something like that.
Maybe.
Do you think we get some resurgence of Vanguard 1 in this match?
Oh, God. No. God, no.
Not a fan.
Stuff. Maybe Matt Hardy will bring a giant spaceship, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I heard there's some cameos in this thing. I wonder what cameos they're going to have. Like, does Tony Khan make an on-screen debut of AEW Dynamite?
Senor Benjamin.
Do we see Senor Benjamin or Rebby Hardy? Do we see the Hurricane? He's not with WWE anymore. Do we see the Hurricane? Do we see? I don't know. This is so intriguing what they're going to do. I don't think it's going to be like super cinematic. Well, I think there are going to be cinematic elements because, with Matt Hardy and pre-produced matches, you think of all his deletion matches, something's going to be in there somehow. And I'm interested to see how they do this compared to how WWE did their like cinematic type matches. So,
well, some of them were good and some of them were terrible. I thought the ones from WrestleMania were good. I thought the Money in the Bank ladder matches, or match, because it was really 2 and 1, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I thought it was good-ish. It was okay. It wasn't professional wrestling. It was, I don't know.
They made people look stupid in that one.
It had its moments. There was some good. There was some bad.
Yeah.
And I think that this match is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be very cinematic. I think it'll be good. And I think that it's going to help establish some more storylines going forward. I think this is going to be the point where Hangman probably truly sets himself apart from the Elite. I think something's going to happen in this match and we'll finally see I don't know if you want to call it a full heel turn.
Yeah.
But
at least the seed has been planted. I mean, the seed has already been planted, but now maybe the plant starts to root now after tonight. I'm going to go one further and actually say that Kenny Omega's taking the pin. I definitely see Kenny Omega taking the pin tonight.
Right.
If I had to choose who gives him that pin, I think it's either Santana or Ortiz that pinned Kenny Omega tonight.
Really?
Yes, because what they'll set up is Santana and Ortiz, because they pinned Omega, get a shot at the AEW Tag Team Championships.
Yep.
And then you get the turn, either Kenny on Page or Page on Kenny. They lose the titles, and Santana and Ortiz become the next AEW Tag Team Champions. That's where I see that going. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very fun to see. And I think from this point on, with the matches we have left, there's going to be so much chaos, a lot of unpredictability, a lot of shenanigans, that I think that's what's going to make this show very memorable, either good or bad. But let's move on to the next match here, which is for the AEW Women's Championship. And from here on out, it's all championship matches for the rest of our predictions. If you want to ask us a question, you could donate to the Super Chat, become part of the Super Chat party, and we'll answer your question. We're also going to do some Q&A at the end of our predictions here up until 7 o'clock. So, Ralph, AEW Women's Championship, no DQ, no countouts. Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. I've been saying for a long time, Hikaru Shida is the best women's wrestler on the roster. Nyla Rose, I think, might be the best character in the women's division outside of Britt Baker. It depends where they want to go with this. Do they want the best wrestler with the title or the best character with the title? Right now, I think, given the time and the circumstances, they need more character than in-ring wrestler. So I think Nyla Rose wins this match and retains throughout the summer and let Shida chase until fans are back. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, and you know what? You're probably right, especially considering if you say their second best heel just went down with an injury. So
right.
They'd have to establish somebody else and build them up if Hikaru Shida won. But I do think Shida's going to win. I think that because she has proven herself, she is very good in the ring, and she's reliable. I also think that because I feel like Nyla losing in a match like this, given that there's no rules, no count out, stuff like that, it'll give her an out almost. Like they could very easily have it where, Shida has to use a bunch of weapons and people can get involved and whatever the case may be as a way to say like, oh, well, she's so dominant that it had to be a match like that. So she could, use weapons or whatever the case may be to get the win.
Right.
So I think Shida's going to win this.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be chaotic. I think a lot of weapons are going to be used. I could totally see Shida winning because of that, but I am going with the retention of Nyla. I think Nyla puts Shida through a table. I think they'll use the storyline with the kendo stick, but eventually Nyla Rose does get the victory. So next up, we crown our first TNT champion, Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer. Mike Tyson will be at ringside presenting the first AEW TNT champion. Arn Anderson in Cody's corner. Jake Roberts in Archer's corner. You know these guys are going to get involved somehow. So, Ralph, who ends up winning this match? Cody or Lance Archer?
I'm going with Archer. I think that, they certainly got somebody who's extremely talented, somebody who was, pretty big star over in Japan. And he was, pretty, they have some big guys, but he's a pretty big dude. And I think that they need to establish some of the more dominant, like monster big guy characters. Wardlow's going to get there eventually. Luchasaurus, if he ever decides to get out of the Jurassic Express, yeah, he can get there. But I think that Archer needs to make a statement. This will really help cement him as their top big guy in AEW. So I'm going with Archer.
Now, I will admit that I think Archer should be the winner. Have him established as the top big guy, the biggest threat in AEW. However, with Mike Tyson, Arn Anderson, and Jake Roberts outside. Maybe Brandy gets involved. You know there's going to be shenanigans in this match, and they're going to do everything they can to protect Archer in a losing effort. Cody has lost almost, he lost at Revolution. He lost at Full Gear. He should have lost at All Out, but didn't with Shawn Spears. And I think this match is very similar to the build that we got with Shawn Spears and Cody, where Shawn Spears should have hands down won that match, and Cody won, thanks to some shenanigans happening on the outside. I think the same thing happens tonight because Cody can't have the AEW World Championship match or championship belt.
Yeah.
They got to get him a belt to represent the company. So I think that is how they're going to do it. They're going to give him the belt that represents not only the company, but also the network that they're on. He is obviously the face of the company. I want Archer to win, but I think Cody wins.
See, I don't think Cody needs a championship to be who Cody is.
I agree.
And that being said, Archer doesn't necessarily need to be a champion to establish his dominance. But if you think about how WWE has kind of really booked Braun Strowman, they make him dominant and then he loses. They make him dominant and then he loses to a guy like Lesnar in whatever it was, a couple of minutes. And he was good, but he couldn't necessarily get past Roman Reigns, whatever it was, right?
Right.
I think that they don't want to make this a similar mistake with a guy like Archer. Archer can be a menacing beast without being a champion, but I don't think that he can afford a loss to a big, high-profile named guy like Cody right now because he's been with AEW for what, like a month and a half?
Yeah.
Something about that.
He debuted just before the quarantine stuff started.
Yeah. And he's obviously been booked really strong and made to be look dominant, but can he come back from a loss to Cody? Yeah, of course he can, but I don't know. I think that he's the right guy to win, and I think Cody can continue to be Cody even in losing tonight.
See, I totally agree with what you're saying, 100%. However, you got Mike Tyson hanging around here, and on Dynamite, Jake Roberts said that Archer has the first shot at Tyson. So Tyson's getting involved in this match.
Yeah, he has to.
So I think what ends up happening is whoever the referee is, I would assume Aubrey, because Aubrey tends to be the referee for the big matches, especially when Cody's involved. She gets distracted somehow, either by Arn and Jake scuffling or checking on Cody, and Tyson knocks out Archer. And then we get Crossroads, and that's the win. That's how I see it. I mean, that's not the finish that I want. And I think at that point, if Cody wins this, where a lot of people assume or think Archer's going to win or should win, this is where people start to think that Cody is getting Triple H-esque if they haven't already. People are starting to think that Cody is like Triple H or wants to be Triple H, but isn't Triple H. So they have this match to kind of cement that theory, or those that don't think that yet start to think that. He's just trying to be Triple H by winning and putting down all the talent when they should be getting pushed.
Well, let me start with this. First of all, Triple H, while maybe he went over some guys that people felt strongly that he shouldn't have gone over at certain points in his career, Booker T is probably the best example of that. He has put over a shit ton of people.
Most losses at WrestleMania.
You can go through the list. Triple H has put over a ton of people, and he's gone over maybe some people that he shouldn't have. So I don't really buy that theory that Triple H intentionally buries people.
No.
I've already seen that kind of here and there where people are considering Cody to be this guy that, uses his power and he puts himself in all these matches and he books himself strong and all of that. But I mean, yes, he's a VP. So you had to think that criticism was going to come at some point. But he's also he was at one time, obviously one of the most over guys in AEW. And it seems like there's a small portion of the fans that are starting to kind of turn on him a little bit, especially because he was put in this match and he's fighting for a title and all this stuff. And he seems to always have the more extravagant entrances. It's very whatever, but it's not like he's getting those opportunities because of his VP status. He's been put in these opportunities because one, he was the most over guy. I mean, he has the best mic skills pretty much of pretty much anybody in AEW off the top of my head. He's had some amazing promos, amazing matches. When you have great promos, great matches, and the people cheer for you, guess what? You get put in the main events.
Yeah.
I mean, what do people want? People are so kind of fickle nowadays where it's like, they want to see somebody win, but once they start winning, it's like they love to hate them.
Yeah. I mean,
Look,
you see that. I think you see that more with WWE than anywhere else. You see that, because part of that is just how WWE books them. They make them look like, oh, they're a badass until they win the title. And then when they win the title, they become these goofy, smiling, half comedic, half serious characters. And it makes no sense. And that's, why Seth Rollins has to turn heel again. Braun Strowman has back and forth swerves and turns and whatever, and never got pushed the way he was supposed to.
Yeah.
I just hope that AEW doesn't start going that route where, people start getting titles and then they get pushed, as are booked as like goofy. I don't think that's the case.
No,
but
yeah, I don't think it'll happen there. WWE is entirely different. They book their matches differently, and they put their characters in really, really bad positions to make the faces look like goofs.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so before we get to the last match of our predictions, if you guys want to ask a question through the super chat, you could donate now. We're going to do our Q&A after this match that we are going to predict. Thank you all for joining us so far for the AEW Double or Nothing prediction show on the Squared Circle Cycle Battle. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling. So on to our last match that we're predicting. It was billed as the main event. I don't know if it's the match that goes on last. It is Jon Moxley versus Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One of the Dark Order. Here's how I think of this, Ralph, and I told you this before we went on air. If this match is actually last, Moxley wins.
Yep.
If it's not, I think some shenanigans happens where they screw Moxley and Brody wins, because this is probably the first time in the year of AEW they actually booked themselves into a corner. I'm not sure how exactly they booked this to where they protect both guys and not make one guy look bad, worse than the other, without some kind of screwiness or a finish that fans are not going to like. So with that, I think because of that, they're not going to make this match last because they don't want this match to end the pay-per-view with people pissed off. Therefore, I think Brody Lee wins the AEW championship tonight.
See, I've been going back and forth on this match all day. Originally, I told myself I felt like Brody Lee was going to win because he just went to AEW. They're trying to rebuild the Dark Order. They're trying to establish them as this group that's really dominant. But when I think about this, what I finally thought to myself was, who's worth more to AEW? Moxley as the champion, which undoubtedly to me, they're going to have more people watching their show as him champion. They're going to sell more merchandise. Having him as champion just makes more sense business-wise. And to me, the Dark Order, while it's definitely much better and much more improved where it once was, and definitely a step in the right direction with Brody Lee as the Exalted One, people still aren't bought into them. People still aren't bought into Brody Lee 100%. So do you take the risk at putting the title on a guy like Brody Lee, who, who's the head of a group that some people just aren't into? They don't like the Dark Order. Some people are into it. Me, personally, I think that it's definitely much better than what it once was. I think there's some flaws with the group, especially because they were kind of cast at first as like a group that you weren't necessarily supposed to take serious. And then they started doing some more promo packages, some really good video packages. And then Brody Lee comes in from WWE and it helps establish the group a little bit. But are people bought into the Dark Order? I would say a majority of them still aren't.
No.
But
and
this could help cement it. But do you take that risk? That's the thing. Like, are they going to take a risk on a guy like Brody Lee? I don't see it.
Considering the push that he's gotten so far, where he's won every match he's been in, granted it's only been like 4 or 5 matches.
Right.
And they've been mostly against jobbers, Marco Stunt, and really the only decent or contested match he had was Christopher Daniels. Good match, but I mean, Christopher Daniels isn't going for a world title anytime soon. So you are taking a risk if you put the title on Brody. But here's the other thing. We talk about this all the time on the show. There are some guys that are just better chasers than champions. Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example, was a much better chaser than he was a champion. Okay? His character was definitely better when he was chasing the WWF Championship and not necessarily when he was the WWF Champion. I think you can say the same for Moxley. Sure, it might be a little too early to say Moxley's championship run was good or bad because, granted, he won the title at Revolution. 3 weeks later, everybody's at home and we're having matches and shows without anybody at the shows. Moxley's in Las Vegas quarantining up until, a month ago. So it's very hard to say how his title run has been. The sample size is just not there. But I think heading into Revolution, I think his character was definitely the most intriguing character in AEW. I would say either him or Cody. Cody can't take the title or go after the title anymore because he lost at Full Gear. So maybe you have Moxley, after losing in screwy ways, chase the title from Brody and let Brody and the Dark Order look dominant for the next 3 months. And when fans start coming back and possibly All Out, you have him win the title back.
It's possible. I don't know. I feel like Brody Lee, to help establish him, he probably does need to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't get past the fact that, a group that was kind of viewed as like literally when they came, people did not like the Dark Order.
No.
And now I think people are starting to get behind them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I still don't think enough people are behind the Dark Order or supportive of the group to say that they want to see Brody Lee as Brody Lee by himself. I like him. He's talented. I think that he could be a champion. Brody Lee as the leader of the Dark Order, you're putting the heavyweight championship of the company now on a guy who's head of a group where going back a year ago, nobody was interested in.
But because he got involved, people started investing in the Dark Order.
Yeah, no, I know. But some people just still don't buy into the group, I should say, not necessarily him. So
right. So
I'm going with Mox here.
You're going with the Moxley retention. I'm going with Brody Lee winning the title just because that's not the way they want to close out the show. That won't be the last match. I think the Stadium Stampede match actually ends the show. There's going to be a lot of shenanigans on this show. I really do. So we got about 15 minutes left till the buy-in starts for Double or Nothing. So guys, you can put in your questions now on the live chat and donate to the super chat party if you like any donations. I know things are tough right now with some people being furloughed, laid off, fired, whatever it may be. So if you want to support the channel, you can, but we're going to answer questions. Basically, I'm just going to go through the live chat here in the order, but if you want to cut the line, donate to the super chat party and you become instantly next with your question. Christian Bellard, he did ask a question through the super chat earlier on, $2. Now that we said who will be the first TNT champion, he did ask who would be the second TNT champion. So you have Archer winning. I have Cody winning. Who do you think would take the title from them? Or who do you think would be a good shot at being the second champion? I know this kind of puts us on the spot here, but it's a good question to talk about. I want to know. Let me know in the live chat, guys, who you guys think should be the second TNT champion.
Assuming Archer wins, the two guys that I could see this happen, and the match that I said from the very beginning of that tournament that I wanted to see most was Darby Allen and Archer. So I wouldn't mind seeing Darby taking the title off him further down the line. Or like you talk about with people who are better chasers than champions, why not have Cody chase that title and win it. Have the storyline be where he can't challenge for the heavyweight championship, but he's just so obsessed with becoming a champion that he ends up being the guy to beat Archer some point down the road. So I
Right.
would say either Cody or Darby.
Yeah, if it's Archer that wins tonight, I could totally see Darby being the chase. Oh, actually, I could see Darby going against Cody too, because they already have their history there. So why not do another rematch of Cody versus Darby for a title and on a pay-per-view? I mean, yes, they had, what were they, Fighter Fest? That wasn't really a pay-per-view. And then they did a couple matches on Dynamite, but this one here for a pay-per-view for the TNT Championship, I think a lot of people would buy into that. So, yeah, I'll go with Darby Allin as the second AEW champion. Let's see what the next question is. Who's going to be the surprise person in the ladder match? Ralph, you said Brian Cage. I said Wardlow would be the mystery participant. Do you see anybody else that could be the mystery participant? I know a lot of people say Sting. Oh, some people
look, if there's a match, if there's ever going to be a time where, well, I shouldn't say ever be a time, but if there's a time where Sting can debut or participate in a match where he's not relied upon carrying the brunt of the match, like a one-on-one match. I mean, you have X amount of other people that are involved in this, so it'd be easy to kind of hide his limitations. Similar to the same way, like if you had the Undertaker in like the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against Undertaker, but he's obviously well past his prime. So is Sting. So having him in a match like that, I think it would be fine. But I still think Brian Cage is going to be the guy. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I think Wardlow could be the guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wardlow's the guy, he ends up winning the thing. Because now he gets involved with the World Championship. And I saw on Twitter today that someone said that it's possible Wardlow wins the chip and then MJF buys it off of him, kind of like how DiBiase bought the championship off of Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you would do, what you should do for the first time winning something like this, but
unless MJF loses his match.
Yeah, it also let's not forget, it all depends on what order these matches go in. Let's say Cody and Archer actually go before the casino ladder match. It's possible Cody somehow inserts himself as the mystery participant and wins the ladder match, and that's how he gets his title shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be kind of WWE-esque booking, but it's possible. Just because the idea is out there, it's totally possible. Let's see. What's another question? Jose Flores, I want to watch Double or Nothing, but I'm not paying $50. Any advice? I don't know.
Wait till the show's over and ask one of your friends to borrow their credentials.
You could do that, or just see if you could be able to watch with their credentials at the same time. I don't know how Bleacher Report is. I think WWE, you can have like 2 people or 4 people simultaneously signed in, or 4 devices, however it works.
FaceTime one of your friends and have them point their phone at the TV.
You could do that too. You could try that. That could certainly work. Thank you for the $5 super chat party donation. Hoops88. You guys covered everything, so here's $5 just because I like the content. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We totally appreciate that. The AEW title match with Mox feels more like a match they have on Dynamite for free. Mox winning over Jericho felt big. Brody Lee and Mox does not. It's too soon to take the towel from him. That's from David Scott, recently coming in on the live chat there. Flick Story Entertainment. Who are you talking about? Uno plays video games and people ask him when he'll be back. They like his character and so on. I mean, I did stumble upon his Twitch one day.
Yeah.
And people do ask him questions, but I mean, the Dark Order were definitely more popular now with Brody Lee than they were with Evil Uno. Now, don't get me wrong. Evil Uno's a pretty good promo. When they have him talk, it's good. I think part of the problem was it's just the creepers are really the turnoff, I think.
They were just presented in a goofy way.
Yeah.
You know, had they started doing, we talked about this on the show about 6 months back. Had they started doing the video packages and the promos before they debuted, it would have been so much better. You know, actually build them up, establish them. And the other thing too is the masks are okay, but the comparison I made was if you used to watch Power Rangers back in the day,
Yeah.
the putties,
Yeah.
like the goofy guys, that's kind of like what I was equating the creepers to.
Yeah.
They presented themselves goofy, so nobody took them seriously, and nobody took the Dark Order seriously as a group. So it's hard to establish them now as, oh no, they're a scary group. Like you're supposed to be scared of them. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just, it was hard to buy into them at the very beginning, and now you want us to buy into them as like a menacing group that you're supposed to be scared of. I don't know.
Right. Thank you for the $5 donation. Dirty Delane joining the super chat party. He says he's got Kip Sabian winning the ladder match. He's the only heel. Plus, Moxley has never fought him. Is Kip really the only heel in the match? Now, that's assuming that the mystery participant is not a heel, which is also part of why I say that it could be Wardlow. $5 donation, Harold Romero. Thank you very much for joining the super chat party, my friend. A big fan of the Squared Circle Psychobabble. I guess if people can't afford it, the next best thing to do is go on Twitter and read people's tweets. Did you see Uno's latest video promo? Have an awesome evening. Thank you, Harold. Hopefully you enjoy Double or Nothing. I did see the video package that Evil Uno did. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, Ralph. Did you?
I did not see that.
Well, I would highly recommend it between now and when Double or Nothing starts to head onto Twitter on his account. I think it's just at Evil Uno. Go there and check it out. It was very good. Very good promo that he cut with Brody Lee and the whole Dark Order thing. So Jamie Bazira. Sorry if I mispronounce your names. I'm reading these on the fly. So what surprises do you see tonight? Now, obviously, Sting is one that people are talking about. Could we see, I mean, people are saying cameos and surprises. Could we see FTR get involved in the Stadium Stampede match, costing the Young Bucks the match?
I hope so. I mean, I look, I think tonight is going to be a big night either way. Like, I would come away from this paper, if nothing happened, if nobody debuted, I'd come away from this being happy with just the matches. I think that a big part of Double or Nothing last year was when Moxley debuted, and that was a special moment. Not having fans there, do you debut people? Do you not? I think that people will talk about this pay-per-view as being special either way, but having a debut always helps, because that's, I mean, if word gets out on Twitter, oh, this person debuted, that person debuted, automatically people are going to go on social media and try to look for that video. So it keeps people intrigued. So I hope it happens, but
yeah, we'll definitely see. So possibly Drew Gulak debuting could be a surprise. Maybe he's the mystery participant in the ladder match. I know his contract ran up with WWE, but I know some people are saying Gulak could be that mystery participant. I honestly believe that he's going back to WWE once they figure out the terms of his contract. And then he'll start a feud with Daniel Bryan when he comes back. I assume that Daniel Bryan will win the Intercontinental Championship in the tournament. Drew Gulak comes back, says he wants the title, and possibly build a SummerSlam match. So that's where I go with Gulak. But I'm trying to think what other possible surprises.
I mean, look, it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could borrow talent from Ring of Honor. They've done it before.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see where it goes. But
you think at all, Marty Scurll? You think at all? Any chance?
I mean, he's the head booker of Ring of Honor. So if there's actually going to be some kind of partnership or talent sharing with Ring of Honor and AEW, maybe we do see some kind of surprise cameo in that Stadium Stampede match with Flip Gordon and Marty Scurll tonight. Don't be surprised if that happens. Someone asking here, do you think the mystery person is EC3? That's from Kenneth Connor. He's still under his 90-day no-compete clause, Ken, so that won't happen. All the guys that were part of Black Wednesday, those guys are still under a 90-day no-compete clause, except for Drake Maverick, who's still wrestling on NXT. And my guess is we'll probably win the Cruiserweight Championship to keep his job. General E-Rock asking, will Ospreay to AEW in 2021? Pretty sure he just signed like a 5-year deal with New Japan. So unless there's some talent sharing with New Japan, I don't see that happening. I would love it, but I think he's a diehard New Japan guy. I think he might be a New Japan lifer, to be honest with you. What do you think?
Punk. Maybe Punk's going to be in the match.
No, don't start the CM Punk to AEW confirmed stuff. We know that's not happening. What about Ricky Starks as the surprise? I mean, the problem with a guy like Ricky Starks is unless you watch NWA Power, you have no clue who Ricky Starks is. So and obviously with no fans there to kind of pop for him to show up, you are literally getting a Dark Order type reaction at Double or Nothing last year if Ricky Starks is there, because who is Ricky Starks? And then you get Twitter going, who is Ricky Starks? Who is Ricky Starks? Unless you watch NWA Power, you have no idea who Ricky Starks is.
Well, unless you're a diehard wrestling fan.
Right.
That's probably a better way to put it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But like even some diehard wrestling fans don't watch NWA, probably don't know who Ricky Starks is. So that's where I'm going with it. What other questions are we getting here? We're just about 3 minutes left. So now's your chance to jump in on the questions.
Nobody wants to ask about Orange Cassidy?
I'm surprised we haven't gotten the Orange Cassidy.
Nobody wants to debate me on his ability to draw ratings.
I'm surprised, Ralph.
I'm going to draw a picture right now, and that's going to be the equivalent to his drawing power.
Do not draw a 0 because it's not 0. He definitely could draw, Ralph.
Okay, you don't want me to draw a 0. I'll draw
or a goose egg, or a trash can, or anything that resolves that. So, Warhorse can join the Elite.
1% increase.
There it is, folks. That's Orange Cassidy's ratings boost, 1%. But the 1% could be EC3. He's the top 1%. So if Orange Cassidy is drawing in EC3, then he's doing his job, right? You would think. Let's see. Any other questions jumping in here as we get to the final minute? I don't think so. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here. Thank you very much. Harold Romero, Dirty Delane, Hops88, Joe Perry, Christian Bullard, and Heel Swerve 90 for joining the Super Chat party tonight. Thank you all for joining us tonight. One last question, Ralph just jumped in. Does Adam Page turn heel tonight? Yes or no?
Yes.
I say no. I think we get the tease, but not the actual full-blown turn. But thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to share us all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SCPB Podcast. For news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti. Enjoy AEW Double or Nothing. The buy-in starts in less than a minute. Good night, everybody.